Well, as you can see, all of the woodwork is done on the mandolin, and very pretty it's looking too. But of course it's not just made to hang on the wall. We got to, and look at, we got to get it playing. Now, I've got to make the bridge, which is going to sit in this kind of area here. And, you know, the function of the bridge is to take the kinetic energy of the strings, transmit it as efficiently as possible into the top plate. The top plate, of course, then vibrates, pushes air out of the sound holes, and that kind of difference in air pressure we perceive as sound. And depending on who's got the mandolin in their hands, we may even perceive it as music. So what I'm got to do then is make that bridge out of yet another piece of this beautiful Brazilian rosewood. So this tatty old looking lump of dark brown stuff is going to be a really nice bridge in a few hours time. When I make the bridge, I'm of the belief that I don't want it to touch the top plate in the middle, and what it will do is it will sit on 2 feet, for want of a better word, over the general area of where the braces or the tone bars are. If you've seen some of my other videos about the top plates on the previous archtops, you would have seen that my tone bars I put on as though they were fan braces, as you would have on like a classical guitar. And I guess, you know, my background back in the day was making classical guitars, and it's evolved into mandolins over the last 40 years. So I've got these 2 braces. So my theory, you can disagree with me if you wish, I don't really mind, but my theory is that you're sitting the bridge over the area where these braces are. Sound travels quicker through wood along the grain rather than across the grain. So the point of these tone bars or fan braces, as I called them, is to try to get the energy from the strings via the bridge going across the grain, transmitting it across the grain as quickly as possible, so that the top is really responsive. That's my theory, and that's what I'm sticking to. So that's the function of the bridge. So now we're going to make it out of this. So you can see that I've prepared the bridge blank. So the first step is to get the bottom surface fitting the top plate. So what I'll do is I'll use my contour tool to copy that curve, mark it out on the underside of the bridge, and then cut it to that line. So you can see that the bridge blank has been roughly shaped to fit the top plate. I've got the bridge the height that I want. So what I'm going to do now is route in here a slot for a bone saddle, and then once the bone saddle is in place, I'll know the final position of the bridge, and I'll be able to fine tune the fit of the bridge to the top plate. This kind of workmate bench is ideal for this sort of job. The bridge blank is in between the jaws, piece of wood there is a fence, got the router, plunge down, go across, back up, and you've got yourself an accurate saddle slot. Vacuum cleaner, so off we go. So I've got the saddle in the slot, so I know pretty much where the bridge is going to sit. I've roughly shaped the bottom of the bridge, and now I'm using the time-honoured traditional method of piece of abrasive paper and very gently going backwards and forwards, side to side, until the bottom of that bridge fits the contours of the top plate. And I don't like to stick the paper down, because every now and then I like to take it off, get rid of the dust, make sure there's no grit or dust on the top plate, and do it again. These pieces of blue tape are just for me to kind of eyeball where the bridge needs to go. I can see the centre line, so I'm pretty confident it needs to be in about this area. So after about an hour or so of sanding and some work with a cabinet scraper and a bit more sanding, the bottom of the bridge fits the profile of the soundboard. I know from experience how much compensation I need for the saddle, and pretty much know exactly where that's going to go. Got my centre marked in alignment with the join down the top plate, and I can see, or rather feel with feeler gauges, that we got a pretty good fit there, so I'm happy with that. So the next stage is to shape the bridge. One thing that's probably more apparent at this stage is that you'll see that the saddle is set back. It's not dead in the middle. The reason that I do that is that I like to have more wood in front of the saddle to try to compensate for the tendency of the bridge wanting to tilt forward under the tension of the strings. So next step is to make this look a bit prettier. So that's the bridge complete, really. The saddle has just been roughly shaped. That will require some fine tuning, but the saddles I have as removable, so that if you wanted to, you can put a shim underneath the saddle to raise the action, or indeed if you wanted to lower it, you could take some off the bottom of the saddle. As I said, it's asymmetrical, but you don't really notice that it's asymmetrical, so there's a little bit more wood at the front to try to combat it tilting. And as I said at the beginning, we have this gap for underneath that central portion there. As you know, pressure equals force over area, so as the area that's in contact with the soundboard becomes smaller, the pressure of the bridge on that soundboard becomes greater, and the idea is that it's great just here and here where the bracing or the tone bars are, and the whole point of that is to try to get these tone bars excited and transmitting vibrations through that soundboard as quickly as possible and make the whole instrument sound responsive. So there we have it, the bridge. So now we better get that tail piece on and see what it sounds like.